Hello, everyone. Praveen here. I'm one of the founders of Factors.ai. I'll just give it like a minute before we start, just in case people are just trickling in. So let's just give it 1 or 2 minutes before we get started. Uh, yeah, I have Roman here as well. Hey, Roman.
Hi, Praveen. Nice to meet you, and nice to be here.
Thank you. Thanks for agreeing to be part of this event. Really excited for our upcoming conversation. I've followed you, I think, at least for a year or more. So even though we haven't met in person or spoken, that's the advantage of LinkedIn, right? It's almost like we've known each other. So
Yeah,
so yeah, excited to finally meet virtually and do this session together. We'll just give it like maybe like a minute, and then we can get started. Uh, so everyone, Roman is
thanks.
joining us from Netherlands today. I'm based in Bangalore as well. So Bangalore had like terrible weather the last 3 days. It was like raining like crazy. It's finally looks like it's cleared up. So how about you? How's the weather there?
Yeah, I would call it Dutch weather, so it's already gloomy, and sometimes it rains. So we will
Uh,
have this for like upcoming like 6 months. Maybe we will have some sunny days sometime.
Okay, so now you're going into winter, right? It'll get colder, I presume, with every week. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Cold and rain.
Cold and rain, is it?
Yes, it's raining very often here, so yeah, you just need to
Oh,
get used to it. But after 3 years, so over 3 years of living here, I haven't got used to it still.
where were you before this?
So I'm originally from the Czech Republic, so yeah, it's still in Europe, but the weather isn't there like this.
Got it. Understood. All right, I think we can get started now. So, hey everyone, welcome to this LinkedIn Live where we'll be decoding a B2B marketing, paid marketing strategies with Roman. Just by the way of introductions, my name is Praveen. I'm one of the founders of Factors.ai. We are a account analytics and activation platform. We work with over 500 customers globally. Mostly our customers fall under two segments. So either SaaS companies, and we work with SaaS companies all the way from seed stage, just starting out, to large listed sort of companies with like $1 billion in revenue. And the other segment is business services companies, a lot of IT services, PR firms, etc. So business services companies, which we work with as well. And I'm really excited to have Roman here today. Roman is a founder of Grouts Online, which is a marketing agency based out of Netherlands. He very actively contributes on LinkedIn, and I've learned a lot from what he has shared over the years. So I'm super pumped to host this session with him. Hey, Roman, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and excited to be here.
All right. Roman, do you want to start with like maybe like a quick introduction about Grouts Online, how you got started with the agency, the kind of companies that you work with, etc., just so that the audience is aware?
Sure. So basically, my background starts in like digital marketing or running paid ads. I worked in agency before, and then I moved in-house to B2B SaaS company where I worked for 3 years. And I basically started consulting on site, working with B2B SaaS companies. And then after a couple months, because I was posting on LinkedIn, I was still getting more and more people reaching out to me. So then I started solo and then hired team. And now we are a small team working with B2B SaaS companies and helping them with their paid ad strategies, like Google Ads, LinkedIn Ads, and all end-to-end campaign management, and also helping with ad creatives. So that's basically what we do and where I'm coming from.
Got it. So for the context of everyone on this call, because most of these strategies that we are discussing can be very different at different stages of growth. So what Roman and I agreed was that we'll take the example of a SaaS company which has hit, let's say, 2 or 2.5 million in revenue. So post product market fit, they've got their early set of customers. Let's assume that they have around 100 customers at a 20K average ACV. So they're at like a 2 million sort of ARR. And typically what happens in these cases is the next year sort of growth targets would be somewhere in the range of growing 3 to 4x. So like a journey from 2 million to like 8 million, right? At least I know that's the kind of growth that we've been expected to kind of do and deliver on. So we'll take the context of such a company and all the conversation we'll focus on that because otherwise it's kind of very hard to stick to like a sort of theme, right? So Roman, let's say that a founder of such a startup reaches out to you saying, we've hit 2 million, 100 customers, 20K ACV. I'm now looking to grow 3 to 4x, right? How do you start this conversation? What do you kind of look at from each of these companies so that you know what is the right strategy for them to deliver that 3 to 4x growth over the next 12 to 15 months?
Sure. Yeah. So basically, it starts with what they've done so far to get there. So just looking at, like, the sources that are bringing them the kind of inflow of the leads and the acquisition, and if they have tried the paid ads before. So typically, what I see at this stage, they already are spending something on it. They had someone managing that, and they want to scale, or they are struggling to get the results, and that's why they can't scale. So yeah, that's basically what we look at, like just to the history and like analyzing this data, and based off that we can then make some forecasts of like how paid ads could contribute, what would be the needed budgets. But first we just audit what is there to then start optimizing the results and scaling that. So typically there is already some historical ad spend, and if there is no ad spend, then we just need to start with some research on like analyzing what are the other sources that are bringing the results, but researching the keywords and audiences that we can reach to bring some like quick wins or to just start generating first results, and then like build some long-term sustainable strategy. So we just do not like start running ads without having anything before set up as a foundation in terms of strategy, targeting, and understanding the like current situation.
Got it. In fact, I remember last week or the week before, you had actually made a post about when you spoke to founders and marketers, they fall under three categories. They've never done paid ads. Let's say most of their businesses up until now come from the founder network or organic sort of content, either on social media or on the website. And in that case, I know you've mentioned that the mindset has to be slightly different because they're just starting out on paid ads. So they have very little sort of understanding or past experience on how that works. Vis-a-vis somebody else might be at a stage of, let's say, search ads are working, they want to kind of scale it up, and then they also want to add additional channels to kind of augment that growth, right? So let's say if we take that example, let's say you already have, let's say most of the revenue up until now has come in from founder reach outs in terms of outbound and a certain bit of search advertising to on like either competitors or other high intent keywords to kind of capture that interest. Now at in terms of like delivering this growth, right? So one of the conflicts that I see with our customers as well is that they tend to want to scale search as much as possible because they believe that's a channel that is high intent, kind of works for them. They've had past success, but then getting started with another channel which is also slightly low intent and more of a long-term investment like LinkedIn. There's always this question in their mind of should we do it? Are we better off doing, let's say, just targeted outbound? So if you're in that place, how do you actually kind of advise your customers to say how much can you one scale search, and at what stage would you start investing in longer term growth channels like LinkedIn?
Yeah, so it depends on the foundation they have set up. So they as you mentioned, they have some channel, but we need to look at like how efficient it is, and we look into the past. So we look at the measurement: is it properly set up, and can we analyze that? So if then can analyze over 100,000 in ad spend in like past 12 months. Then we look at like what was generating result, what wasn't. So then like setting up this foundation, and then like the measurement like to the future. So like we know if we make this optimization, we still see we see the full funnel measurement that these leads are converting. And you mentioned that there are like these high intent keywords competitors, and I often hear like they have it, but then you look into the accounts, it's in broad match, or it's some odd structure that doesn't work, or they are just overpaying on the keywords. So, or like the conversion rates are low. So basically, that's the first thing that, as I mentioned, auditing. So that's the typical thing we look at. If what could be the improvement there, and then we basically then reduce the spending, optimize that, and then look at the keywords that converted in the past 12 months to opportunities, to closed ones, depend on like the sales cycle, and we maximize the search impression share there. So maximizing the reach of the search volume of these keywords, and making sure that we are showing on them. And then on the side, experimenting with the other keywords, part can be paused. So maybe sometimes we even cut the budget by 50% and we still maintain the same results, because a lot of it was just something that didn't work. And then the second part would be other channels. So then also setting up the foundation, the measurement, like all the tracking in terms of the results, conversion tracking on LinkedIn, offline conversions, usually like connecting HubSpot and CRM, and self-reported attribution, and also direct attribution in HubSpot. So we see like the sources in the contact, and then eventually adding the platform like factors to see the influence of this platform. So, but it is more like for the future, like setting up this foundation in terms of the measurement, building retargeting audiences. If the audience from my website is already on LinkedIn or in my like LinkedIn audience, and from that, basically seeing how we can start. Do we have big enough audiences? Then we launch some campaigns towards this, either bottom of the funnel, then we mix other content. And then like over long term, we define the target audience. So make sure it is specific, because sometimes it's people just launch LinkedIn ads, it doesn't work. But imagine that you are cold calling random people to offer your solution. So it's like it works the same way. It's not like just you turn it on and it works. So then just basically defining the right target audience and like in the calls layer, and then validating if we are reaching them, if it is like contributing to the growth of the retargeting, and we start seeing conversion there. So it is, let's say, over like 3 to 6 month period of like implementing everything and start seeing the results. But typically in the beginning, we lay these foundations to make sure that the upcoming months are successful.
Got it. So interesting. So what from what you said, what I if I had to paraphrase, right? So you're saying first look at the existing channel and set up a full funnel measurement of that channel. Let's say if it's search, keywords, all the way to deals, pipeline, and revenue. And you mentioned some of the key aspects that you look for in your audit, like are you running on phrase match? Are you running bidding on keywords where they've not generated opportunities for you in the past? Or are you bidding sufficiently for keywords which are actually driving most of your pipeline revenue? And through this optimization segment, you are able to potentially reduce the spends on, let's say, Google, but keep the same level of conversions, right? Now that gives you a certain amount of budget to start investing in other channels, so that it doesn't look like it's a new budget line item. So it's easier to kind of justify that, right? Now, going a bit deeper here, what are the typical sort of mistakes or sort of common sort of issues that you've seen in your audits? Like, can you talk about like a few of them that you've seen, which maybe our audience can then kind of look through if they're also kind of making some of those mistakes?
Yeah, so definitely there will be many. I will try to highlight the main things. So the measurement, it's like if you do not see the conversions, at least the form submissions in Google Ads, it's like you do not know how to optimize it. Maybe you see something in HubSpot, but the person needs to look at Google Ads and see if it is working, and then in the best case also see it is converting further. These are qualified leads. But like if there are missing conversions, you just just don't know what is working. So that's the first part. And then second is basically, even though you have this measurement, then you are spending, I don't know, 10,000 a month with poor conversion rates and not getting qualified leads, or like 5, it can be even less. So because over like 3 to 4 months, you have already 20,000 spent and you have like very low conversion, high cost per acquisition. And even though like on the surface it looks good, we are targeting right keywords, but often there is something that is not good, which is like the broad match or the phrase match that is also very broad. So then you are wasting on search terms that are not relevant. So that these things that needs to be fixed, and then also landing pages. So putting more effort into it and making sure that it is tailored to the paid search campaigns. Sure, you can start with something like homepage or just product page that is relevant to the keyword, but as soon as possible, tailor it to the paid search campaigns so you improve the conversion rates. And if you have low conversions, your main goal should be to bring these contacts to your CRM and see if they are relevant, if the traffic that you are getting is relevant. So reduce the friction there, distractions, so you see more submissions, and then optimize maybe with qualification questions and also the targeting, the traffic that you are generating, also the quality of the leads.
Got it. Understood. And in terms of using remarketing on Google Ads, right? Have you had success with that? Either remarketing search ads or remarketing for your search audience on the display network or YouTube. How has that kind of worked out for you?
So we've done some experiments. I personally prefer like using just these audiences for observation, especially for this like high intent, low volume campaigns. You can use it like retargeting using intent based campaign like audiences with like more broad match or much more broader targeting to try to specify that, but you use the audiences that are converting. But typically, like as a retargeting in paid search, it can limit your reach, and if you want to reach as much as possible your top keywords, I wouldn't recommend that. But yeah, it's like just about experimentation. And in terms of the other tactics or like the channels or the options in Google, it's good that you can like not for big price reach the audience that visited your website. There you need to be careful that you do not use the audience expansion and you look at the placements. Maybe you exclude mobile, or you at least exclude the mobile application categories, so you are not just showing in some random apps. And then using YouTube, you can use also display or the demand gen, which is like all the Google platforms together. So it can be like just a very small budget, and you can like keep reaching the audience still after they visit.
Got it. So you're saying remarketing, the main challenge you've seen is that the audience size is always a limitation to kind of scale. You can try broadening the keywords for the remarketing audience, but it still doesn't scale that much because you have to first get that audience to the website in the first place. And on display, you mentioned be careful about the placements, maybe even exclude mobile apps. On search also, I saw in one of your posts you had mentioned use only desktop. So is that something that you've seen that that generally works out much better, and what's your experience on that? Yeah.
So it typically is based on like the budget that you have available. So if you have limited budget and you want to improve the conversion rates, you will start just with desktop to maximize the impression share there, and then maybe later you just instead of like excluding completely, you do like minus 50%, or you switch to target CPA or some smart bidding strategy that will like just average that across both devices. So mainly like first you start with desktop when you have limited budget, but if you reach the limit and you do not have like other way to scale the specific campaign that performs, then you can start experimenting with devices to bring some additional leads. But with desktop, you are at work, you are searching, you have higher intent, you probably do the research on the desktop because you are at work and it's for work. And on mobile, the intent is different. It's like you do it randomly, you just get idea, and then you have to go out of bus, and you just forget about it and maybe revisit later. So just to capture like the higher intent, but then you can experiment with mobile as well.
Got it. Understood. Yeah, I think that definitely makes sense. As you said, once you scale out on desktop, that is probably when you want to kind of start experimenting with mobile, especially for those higher intent keywords, right? On display as well, you mentioned about focusing on a few placements. Have you seen that for maybe certain audiences, like display tends to work better? Has there been success stories where display has like really worked for you, right?
Well, prospective display for B2B, not at all. So it was always not performing, and we were not using that. But for retargeting, it is a good complement. It's not that it will bring you like ton of conversions. You will see conversion here and there. So it's like more like complements to the campaigns that you have. And then it depends on like what is your target audience. Then you can use it to scale. But there I would go more like with YouTube or rather paid social in general. So you then like know what audiences you are targeting. So with LinkedIn, you have the specific targeting. So you will probably have more confidence to invest there than in Google Display Network.
Understood. Now, moving on. So one of the other aspects that you also mentioned that you do in the audit phase is the setting up of the offline conversions, right? So I had a specific question related to that. So what some of my clients have now told me is that one of their biggest challenges on Google is they essentially get like 30 to 40% of the leads, which they just can't service, right? So if you are like a company which says, I'll only sell to other companies which are 50 million or more in revenue, right? You or 25 million or more in revenue. Now, one option is obviously for you to narrow down your keywords so that you try and get more enterprise leads. So like add modifiers like enterprise software for payable automation or something like that. But even then, what you end up getting is that you get a lot of SMB-ish kind of leads, right? Now, how is there a way to actually solve that by giving better feedback to Google to say not just like a form submission, right? Like, okay, these clicks led to like a form. Is there a way to say, hey, these clicks led to a form fill or an MQL, which is actually in our target audience vis-a-vis some of the others are not in our target audience, right? Or in general, how do you solve this problem that you're getting leads, you're paying for clicks, 40% of your leads are coming from companies which you don't want to service?
Yeah, so you basically do not have much control on Google over that, over like what company size it is. And in terms of informing Google about what campaign is getting the right leads or what keywords, is to basically when they submit the form and they end up, for example, in HubSpot, then like you probably have some qualification question in the either like in the form, or maybe you have some enrichment or something that will set the stage in HubSpot from, I don't know, from MQL to SQL, which SQL would mean that it is this ICP lead. So like I know these definitions are always different for everyone, but basically in HubSpot you have these lifecycle stages. So definitely make sure that you set up this, and it changes to this stage, for example, from leads to MQL when it is this enterprise lead, and then you use this as the main conversion for Google Ads, the primary goal. So then you basically see on the campaigns, okay, this is generating the leads. The right leads. But yeah, it always depends on the volume. So then depends on how you can use it. It's like sometimes if it is low volume, it is just insight that you have because you cannot use it for the like smart bidding or something that you have like at least 30 conversions of these leads that it will optimize towards. So it would be signal for you. I see these conversions on the campaigns. So that's one of the ways. And then the other way is more, let's say, sacrifice in terms of like the messaging. So in your ads, you maybe will have lower CTR, but you will include this messaging about your target audience, kind of be creative with it on the landing page as well. So you add these qualifiers before they submit the form. So maybe you will get lower CTRs, lower conversion rates, but you should get more people that submit the form and that are relevant because they read the text that you have there that is about like you are this kind of company, this person from this kind of company, then we can work together. So there's three things how you can approach that to make sure you improve this quality.
Got it. So you're saying one, set up the stages in HubSpot so that the ICP fit leads go into like a specific stage and send that as a feedback. From what I understand, though, for Google it's mostly for reporting on Google. You can see which keywords got you more of the qualified leads. But if you really wanted to use it for optimization, my understanding is it's 30 conversions per campaign where you want to do this optimization, right?
Yeah, I think like on account level, it should be enough. So
Okay.
yeah, but like when you are switching to smart bidding strategies, so for me, at least having like 10, 15 conversions on the campaign level, so it would work properly, because if you do not get enough conversion volume, then the smart bidding strategies do not know what to do and won't improve the quality anyway. So just yeah, making sure that you have on the campaign level some conversion volume.
Got it. And then over specify in your copy as well as on the landing page so that people end up self-selecting as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
Understood. Got it. Now, moving on from, let's say, Google. Now, let's say you've done this optimization. You are able to save, let's say, around 20 to 30% of the budget there, keeping the lead volumes the same. And now you want to kind of invest in a new channel, and I'm presuming LinkedIn would logically be like a good new channel to try out, especially for B2B SaaS companies, if your audience is kind of there. Now, how do you actually, when you're having that conversation with a marketing leader or a founder, how do you actually say that, hey, we'll try this for this is going to be like a phase of experimentation for the first 2-3 months. What we're going to look for are these kinds of signals, and if we get those kind of signals, then we know that this works. You should not expect like immediate leads, etc., right? Or also, how do you split between more lead gen campaigns versus awareness campaign? So what is that playbook to get started on LinkedIn?
So in terms of getting started on LinkedIn, I would look into retargeting. So you see how the companies or the people who visited your website previously are like who they are, and you can start with that. So you define the audiences. So if yeah, you look at the definitions, you can set up a maximum, I think, 180 days back, so 6 months back. And so you can start with that, see how big this audience is, and then basically start with some retargeting campaigns that would be like mixed for like the experimentation. So you can start with lead generation in terms of the high intent leads, so demo request. You can also start with like reducing the friction in the beginning, so using the lead gen form, remove as many fields as possible, but qualify the targeting with the LinkedIn options like company size, seniority, maybe job titles if it would be possible, and yeah, just try to generate the leads. Then other thing I would definitely recommend, and you do not even allocate more budget, is text ads and spotlight ads. So it's like very low cost, and you can start reaching towards this audience, and you can generate the insights because you get the impressions, then you get the demographic data, and you can dive deeper into that and see what audience is there. So that is in terms of the retargeting. So just to get started, maybe also assessing what content do you have available in terms of I don't know, case studies or like product messaging, so we can like educate more about that, so like put that into the mix. But with retargeting or just retargeting of your traffic on the website, you won't scale, so you need to explore the options in like the code layer, how to capture attention of the right audience. And the key here is to define the right audience, at least in the beginning. Try to be as specific as possible. So if you have target account list, then definitely use that. and then define 1 or 2 personas that are key that you want to reach. So see if there are the job titles or what are the targeting options to target the persona, not the company or the type of company, like the firmographics, but ensure that you are targeting the person, like who is there, the stakeholder, because we are marketing towards people. And then basically with this targeting, then identify what content, what tactic to use. So you can experiment with that and see what is working. But it's then based of like what budget do you have left from the retargeting. But maybe some ideas I would definitely try is thought leader ads and using some videos if available, and even like experimenting with memes is also a kind of good experiment. You can like just for low cost get some meme, put some pain point focused messaging that is funny, and you will see how the audience engage. So these are kind of, let's say, the low cost things how we can start, but definitely over long term we want to build something more comprehensive, and that will tell the messaging or build the retargeting audiences as well, so you grow over time the impact of LinkedIn.
Got it. So you're saying start with retargeting ads for website visitors with a bottom of the funnel CTA, like a demo or something like that. Also do text ads or spotlight ads because they are economical. Now start here because your costs are controlled, and generally it's a higher intent audience that you're going after as well. And then obviously there will be limits to this in terms of scale, and that is when you start building your audience on LinkedIn. And the two ad formats that you recommended for this were thought leader ads and video ads with like a very specific sort of target list, right? uh, in the code layer, what do you think about content downloads? Like you specifically didn't mention that, so I'm just curious. Are you in favor more of thought leader and video as much as content downloads?
If you have some valuable asset that you can use and have it gated, then you can use that. So I'm not against that. We use it for our clients. You need to make sure that you are targeting the right audience, the topic is relevant, and also the asset that you share is also like a good quality. And then just make sure that you do not bombard these people with sales calls and emails to book a call, because it is not the reason why they downloaded something. They were just interested in the topic. But this way, it is also a good way to validate the audience. So you basically generate the leads from that. You can capture their job title, you can capture their LinkedIn profile, and you see what type of audience you are reaching, and you see, okay, these are the right people that we want to reach. So you can like generate the leads with content leads, but also run more awareness tactics towards this audience, because you are sure that these people are the right people, and you can warm them up with something different than just asking them for email. And obviously, when you ask them for the email, it is good to have some nurturing and kind of lead scoring, maybe, to make sure you work with these contacts. And there, one thing I would add is that these leads shouldn't be expensive. So I would aim, you will test with the content, and if it is like over 100, I would maybe start like looking at it if you need some change. If you spend like 200 per content lead, it's too much. So I would definitely look into how to adjust maybe the headline, the way you promote this content, because just paying expensive leads for content lead that is low intent isn't worth it.
Got it. On text ads and spotlight ads, right? Obviously, I understand one, it's very economical in terms of the cost per thousand impressions. But what other ways do you use it? So you said you can look at the impression data, you can see the demographics, right? And then is there like a playbook after that? Do you then kind of obviously the impressions tells you that these companies have at least been exposed to the spotlight ad, and do you then kind of take them and run a separate campaign against that? How do you actually take it forward?
Yeah. Typically, I use it in retargeting. So if the audience is already limited, then you cannot like make some much more segmentation. You can definitely narrow down the options that I mentioned, like seniority, maybe exclude some companies. So you see there is Google, and you know you will never sell to Google, so you will exclude that. So these things, but typically it's just in retargeting, just to nurture the audiences when they engage. So then you have these other formats, showing your logo, maybe having some call to action sometimes, because people just see the ad always on desktop. They see that in the feed, and then basically you are increasing your exposure. So that's the main goal, to increase the exposure with basically for free, almost. Like spotlight ads are getting more clicks, so you probably, with the minimal budget, you would spend around 300 if they are clicking on the ads. With text ads you get like 2 clicks a month, so you will spend $5 to $10 a month on this, and you will show your logo, you will say some message, and yeah, you can experiment how you can capture attention, but the goal is just to increase the exposure of these target audiences.
Got it. Also, when you're starting with paid marketing on LinkedIn with any of the clients, one of the things that I've heard, and this was actually when I spoke to an account manager at LinkedIn himself, and they were saying that organic presence is also equally important for your paid efforts to have results. So, do you actually advise your customers about that, as well as to how to build an organic presence on LinkedIn? Do you see that most of your customers are doing that right now, or they are kind of reluctant to do that? And how impactful is it to have like a good organic presence on LinkedIn in terms of the paid ads also working well?
Yeah, I agree. And because you are promoting under like your company profile, if you are using like regular ads, I would suggest to have at least like 1,000 followers and a regular content calendar. So people just, when they click the ad, they see like just the page without any post. Then it's like you do not have much social proof. So you just need to build this organic presence as well. It will build you content. The content you can use then for paid ads. So it's like playing together. And the more organic presence you have, either like founder's profile or company page you are posting there, then it improves like the impact. So obviously, like just mainly having the content that people can like read there, because when they see ad, I see that they are also following the page. So there are often these like complementary metrics that we can see from the ads. And if you promote the ads, and then you want to like leverage this, like the followers from that audience, show them some other content, then yeah, you are just missing out. And also, as you mentioned, it is having the impact on like the overall performance as well.
Got it. Do you also run campaigns which can increase the follower count as well at the company level, so that then you have them in like a remarketing, or you would advise to rely mostly on organic content for that?
Yeah, typically it is like a secondary effect of the paid ads. So we do not run any like ads to like follow the company page. We run follower ads. It is similar to spotlight ads. There we target more like cold audiences to basically build the followers, and yeah, just showing there, and you can like get some followers. It's not like it will like explode your followership on your company page, but yeah, it can help also with the exposure in the audience and bring some followers. But yeah, in that case, you definitely need to have people, or you definitely need to have the content, because if they follow, they would expect to have some insight and some content on the page.
Got it. Understood. And again, so going back to where we started, so search was working. You're now started on LinkedIn. What will you try to accomplish in the first 3 months? Would it be a few demo meetings of high intent leads from retargeting, so that you can prove that the channel is actually working? Hopefully, one of those will become an opportunity, and then pipeline and revenue. And that is when you decide that, okay, we can now scale this up. Like, how do you decide when to step on the pedal?
So yeah, basically, as you mentioned in the beginning, you have paid search. So there you want to make sure that you see your target market is there. You can generate the demo requests there. So ensure that you maximize, let's say, the volume there of the keywords that are important, and like be efficient with that, improve the conversion rates and budget allocation and so on. And then with LinkedIn, basically, then you start, and you are monitoring what impact it makes. So sometimes you start generating the meetings in the beginning, or like the demo requests, Sometimes it dropped after 1 month because you just exhausted the audience that was in the market. So then you just need to expand to cold layer. But then you basically look at like these different signals that I mentioned. So direct attribution in HubSpot, self-reported attribution, also the conversion actions on LinkedIn. So you see that basically the ads are shown to people that then submitted the form. So yeah, looking at this, how it is contributing to these conversions, and then basically like looking overall on their paid ads results, maybe overall inbound results, and how you are kind of what returns you have. It is bringing enough pipeline, but because you are spending and you are investing also into other things like sales team, marketing team, and so on, then yeah, pipeline isn't like on the bank account, so you need to make sure that it is closing. So if you see you have the cash flow to kind of fund that, then I would like just make sure that you are converting this pipeline as well. And after you see, okay, it's paid off, I would then after that scale. Depends on like what is your sales cycle. For example, if it is like 1 or 2 years, but you have enough, let's say, funding to run with this and build the pipeline and expect that it will close, then you can like look at the pipeline primarily, but look at the conversion to revenue and work on this data, how to optimize that. So yeah, how I would look at that, and like let's say it's like beyond the 3 months period, and considering the scaling. So you just make sure that you do not scale to 50,000 a month without having this understanding of how it is contributing to revenue and like the pipeline.
Got it. And so, from a brand awareness perspective, right? So, we've now focused a lot on lead generation pipeline, but at what stage do you say, hey, we also need to build our brand, right? So that future buyers are able to kind of recall. So, right now we've only discussed text and spotlight ads from a brand perspective. Uh, I mean, we mentioned thought leader ads as well. So, would you say for brand awareness, is thought leader ads now like the best bet on LinkedIn to kind of do that?
Well, I think it is combination, because like definition of brand is, let's say, a broader understanding of people, what you do, like what is your product and so on. So it's not like about like just showing the logo, but people know you for something. So that's how I would like think about it. So you can use thought leader ads, but you can use regular product ads to let them know that you are in this category, you have this solution, you are solving this problem. So you are making them aware of the problem, or maybe you can start like more like in the bottom of the funnel. Maybe people understand the problem, they know it exists, but they do not know like the solutions. So you then like talk about the solutions, and you can just build it up what you want to say about that to kind of educate the market. So with the brand awareness, it's like you are using the code layer, the new audiences, and then you are using the content, no matter in which format, in which tactic, if it is paid ads or organic, if it is like a brand of the founder, then you are using that to let people know about your offering, about the solution, and you telling them what you want them to know about what you do.
Got it. Last question on this, and this is something that I always ask everyone who's worked a lot on LinkedIn. So, in terms of creatives, what are the things that you have observed? Because you're running ads for so many companies, and I know you have design services internally as well. What is your top few learnings on creatives that really work and stand out? Like, have you seen any patterns of what has really worked well for you? You mentioned memes. That was very interesting. So anything that you can share on the right set of creatives? And again, I know it is a subjective question, but any high level learnings that you have, I think that would be very beneficial.
Yeah, so I think important is to have social proof, or like it will kind of get people interested into what you do. Maybe if you have some testimonials, either video or like text testimonials, you have the text in that says what you solved for the customer. So these typically work well. And then also like the kind of results that you can achieve. So like some statistics, what you achieve for other customers on average if you have something. So just highlighting these big numbers. And then even like regular product ads. So we are I don't know. Let's say attribution tool for B2B SaaS companies. It's like you would just put this to the ad to everyone. It's clear what you do, and it's on them if they decide, okay, I want to explore this. I don't know them, or maybe I know them. I heard about them, and this is trigger for me to explore and book a meeting or start free trial. So these three angles, and then obviously if you want to experiment more, you have like before, after, then you have the memes, or other more like problem focused ads where you visualize like the message that you want. So these are some of the examples that I see having, let's say, impact on having good CTRs. People are interested in the solution and also booking the calls.
Got it. What is probably one of the most interesting creatives that you've seen? Something which really stood out on LinkedIn for you that you remember, which is also outside of the normal templates that you see, like the before, after, etc. Do you remember something that you saw recently?
Yeah, from my experience, I do not remember anything now. But if it is, let's say, the UGC video kind of, then it captures your attention in terms of this is something that where it's like unusual. It's like kind of TikTok or YouTube Shorts video type on LinkedIn, but it is getting pretty common as well. And then definitely the thought leader ad post. It's like you look at the post itself, it looks organic, and then you see it is promoted, but you on the first spot you do not see it is promotion. So I think that the thought leader ads are a good opportunity to use it efficiently, because it has high engagement and it looks organic. It doesn't look like ad. So if you share good content, then you can promote that and show it to the target audience. So you do not have to build your own followership. You can just set it up and you have guaranteed delivery to the target audience.
Got it. And just like we discussed for Google, like what are some of the optimization techniques that have worked for you on LinkedIn, right? Like, for example, bidding strategies. Do you use maximized delivery or manual bidding? At what stage do you decide to swap from one to the other? What are some of the absolute don't do's on LinkedIn, in your opinion, so that people can actually just ensure that they're not making those elementary mistakes?
Yeah, so if someone wants to set up the campaign, so let's say we would go step by step. So make sure you target the right audience, and then you disable the audience expansion. So you will still target the right audience. LinkedIn has it by default checked. So it's like within the targeting, you have to uncheck that. Then there is, if you use, let's say, in-feed ads, then there is typically also LinkedIn Audience Network, which is like display network, and you will reach just bots. So always disable it, especially with limited budget. Do not experiment with that; it's not worth it. And then basically the optimizations in terms of the bidding. So if you want to be efficient, you will probably go with manual bidding, and make sure you have control about the cost, and you disable the let's say the enhanced CPC or these things that can like still adjust the bids based on like how LinkedIn decides what is valuable. So just set up the most manual CPC or like manual cost per view and so on to make sure that you are efficient. But if you want to start with the campaigns, you can start with max delivery, see what are the costs, and then shift back to manual CPC or manual bidding in general, and see how it is delivering. Sometimes what I see, just campaigns are running max delivery and they are delivering very little, and then you shift it to manual, and it increases the reach and increases everything. So like maximum delivery is not delivering on maximum, but more like limit the campaign. So just making sure that you test that and you try to be efficient, especially in the beginning. And then you have like regular things like setting up exclusions, like your employees. In some cases, you can use that, but mostly exclude that, and competitors, and these like irrelevant job titles and so on. Just make sure that it is excluded, and then like when you launch the campaigns, like continuously look at the demographic report and see what you could exclude. And then like after this kind of regular campaign optimization, it's more on the messaging and creative side. So you make sure that you are refreshing the content at least like minimum at least once a month. Just do not run it for longer. If you see like the frequency is high, just make sure you refresh that. Depends on the case, but that it can have impact, and you can experiment with that, with the messaging, and then also experiment to gather the data about what resonates, kind of come up with the ideas, and basically when you run the campaigns, they are, let's say, set up, and you can use this time to come up with the ideas, what ads, what messaging to put there, and try experimenting with that. So that's the kind of optimization that will then you will focus on, like improving your CPM or CPC. So you are getting more for less. So just making sure that you look at this from this perspective as well.
Got it. So when you looked at the demographics reports, right, one of the things that I have seen, and this is something that we actually solve for inside our product. Do you see that like a few accounts end up taking a good amount of the impressions in a particular campaign? Does that happen when you're looking at some of your client accounts?
Yeah, it is definitely with these big companies that have many employees. So if you do not exclude them, and you do not use target account list, and you target 10,000 plus employee count on LinkedIn, then you will definitely get all the impressions and all the budgets basically taken by these companies. So that's something what you need to be careful of, how you set it up, so you can optimize that in terms of like excluding that. So it's like, the sales process, like getting into Amazon, Google, or Meta, or something like that, it's not very easy. So it's like just spending half of the budget just showing them the ads. So it doesn't make sense. But sometimes it can happen because they fall also in these audiences. So if they have two companies on their profile, then they basically get the impression because it is their maybe main job, and on the side they have something that is relevant to you. So you need to be careful about like what audience are you targeting, and if it is relevant, and if not, just make sure that you do not waste the budget this way.
Yeah, so this is something that we've seen very commonly, that for almost every client that we work with, around 10 to 15% of the accounts take up like around 80% of the impressions, right? And that's something that our product kind of solves for natively, where you can define account level pacing limits, where you can say that one account should see only, let's say, 1,000 or 5,000 impressions a month. And we'll take care of ensuring that the moment an account crosses that limit, we'll add it to like an exclusion, add it back the next month so that you continue to show ads to them, but it is capped at a certain limit, right? So that's something, as an optimization lever, I would sort of strongly recommend. You can start doing this manually as well, just to kind of ensure that the limited budget that you're experimenting with, it is efficiently spent on LinkedIn, right? Robin, moving to the last section, in terms of measuring the impact of LinkedIn, do you obviously, we know that there are two ways to look at it, right? One is lead gen forms that you drive downloads on the platform, but then typically your click through rate and conversion rates on lead gen forms are also kind of less than 1%, right? Now, do you see that companies are more willing to look at LinkedIn as, like, there is a lot of brand impact of having seen that ad? So do you see that they are willing to consider the brand impact of LinkedIn as well, or do you see that they're sticking to just the lead gen form downloads as a measurement metric?
Yeah, so I think it is a combination. So someone is using like the lead generation to ensure that you have something to prove. So it's like, if you need that, you need to make sure that you are also tracking further if they are good quality, if there is any follow up or something, like how you let's say process the data, process the contacts. And also you can use it on the site, so you can run 50-50, like lead gen and like ungated content and more awareness. So it's like how it can be combined, but it's sometimes companies rely too much on just lead gen. And sometimes they say we run it as awareness channel. So it's like almost like a red flag where you then look into the account and everything is in the audience expansion, audience network. Then the targeting isn't specified enough. So basically, you do not build the awareness anyway, and you are spending, let's say, a lot of money there. So and without seeing any impact on like the form submissions, conversions. So you should at least see something from LinkedIn to see if it is having impact. And it is like the conversions on LinkedIn. You have, let's say, 90-day attribution window on view conversions. So there should be at least something. And also with offline conversions, you should be able to track that something is happening in the CRM, and the people saw the ads. So it is like the secondary impact. And then basically you have the direct attribution when you run like lead generation, not for content, but for demo request, or if you run regular video ads and people are submitting forms from that as well. So just looking at these direct conversions in CRM, and then mentions in self-reported attribution. So you should add this field if you are unsure about the impact. It won't impact the conversion rate, so you do not have to worry about it. Just edit the let's say field. It can be open text field that is required on your contact sales form, demo request form, and if you see LinkedIn mentioned there, you see something is working. And then the last part is something that you solve, or there are other solutions as well. That is the influence, so the account-based influence that you are reaching these companies, but do you have any contact or deals created from the channel? So then you do not run it as awareness channel, like completely blind, but you have these different insights that you can use from this different perspective that will tell you you are going the right direction, or there is something wrong. You should change the targeting or change the creative or something.
Got it. So you're saying use a combination of self-reported attribution, direct attribution in CRM, influence attribution through solutions like Factors, as well as offline conversions fed back into LinkedIn, and then triangulate and present a view of that story of LinkedIn. It wouldn't be as easy or straightforward as the one related to Google Ads, but using all of these data points, you should be able to make that story of how LinkedIn is working. Right. Cool. I think we've just come to the end of the session today. So I don't think there are any questions. I think there are a couple of comments specifically on the mobile strategy. I think that was that was probably interesting for a lot of people. And what for the audience here, what we have also discussed between Roman and me is that maybe some of the tips that he shared today, we can put it out as like an audit checklist or something like that, which we can then kind of share to all of you as well. So we'll try and document some of the items that we have discussed so that it is more widely available. Okay. Roman, I don't think there are any questions, in which case I think we can probably end over here. Thanks a lot once again for taking the time out. I really appreciate it. It was lovely to have you on the live. And I look forward to collaborating more, and keep sharing all of those insights on LinkedIn. It is really, really beneficial. I know my team actually has learned a lot from what you have shared. So thanks a lot for all the good content that you're putting out there.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback. I will definitely continue, and thanks for having me. It was nice to meet you, and discuss the strategies as well.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. I'll just end the stream now.